good lighting will improve your video quality much more drastically than going out and buying a new expensive camera or webcam. So which is better, the original Elgato key light or the Elgato key light Air? Let's compare them. I'm going to focus on the price, brightness, convenience, and features. Then I'll give my verdict on which is the better buy. Price. I bought my Elgato key light for $199 and my key light Airs for $129 each. Yes, I did buy two key light Airs. I'm going to explain why shortly. Prices on electronics like these fluctuate, but Amazon is where I get most of my stuff. I've linked both of these lights in the description. Now let's talk about brightness, because that way we can put the price into perspective. In this section, I'll go over how bright the lights get, but also the diffusion, the Chroma Key performance, and how evenly these light your shot, which is actually the most important part of this review. The Elgato key light can output up to 2800 lumens, and the Elgato key light Air outputs half of that at 1400 lumens. Does this mean the key light is really twice as bright as the key light Air? Not exactly. Without getting deep into the science of it, the raw lumen rating listed on consumer products like this is just a theoretical output number that's derived from adding together the output of all the bulbs inside. This doesn't take into account the lens, the material used for diffusion, how the lights are assembled together, or any other factor. The best way to see how bright a light really is to see it for yourself. So here's some footage of both lights in different daylight conditions. I'll show them one after another, and then I'll show them side by side. This is the Logitech Brio, just a tiny bit of light coming in without the key light at all. And this is the Logitech Brio with the key light on just by itself. Exposure is locked at -5. This is about 40% brightness. This is about 3%, and this is full brightness. Completely lights up the room. So this is about 3:30 p.m. It's overcast out today. I have the window open, but there's still not a whole lot of light that's coming in the room. So now, turn the Elgato key light on just by itself, and it's at maximum brightness. Now I moved the Elgato key light just by itself to about 15 degrees right in front of me this side. I don't get completely even lighting, but I am lit a little bit from the window light that's coming in and from the key light. And now maximum brightness for the Elgato key light Air. Right in front of me, brightens me up quite a bit. All right, now we're using the Elgato key light Air, just one right in front of me. It's about 3:30 p.m. and this is at about 40% brightness on the Elgato key light Air just by itself, just one. And then maximum brightness on the Elgato key light Air, just one, and it's with the Logitech Brio recording, a little bit after 3 p.m. This right here is a $50 webcam. Both the Elgato key light and the Elgato key light Air do an excellent job at providing sufficient light for the subject, which is you, and they've turned this cheap $50 webcam, the Logitech C920, into looking like something that is 3 times as expensive, the Logitech Brio. The brightness can be changed using Elgato Control Center, which I have right here on my phone, and I'll be covering in the next section. It's free. The panel that Elgato uses diffuses light very well, so it's very soft lighting without being super bulky, and it also doesn't get super hot. Now, unlike previous lights I've used, there's not a giant umbrella or a reflector that ultimately makes the light too dim to use at night. The key light and key light Air are much more than bright enough to stream and record YouTube videos with. I tested with a lot of daylight out, at dusk, and when it was pitch black outside, and both lights were excellent. Now I do want to interject here that as bright as the Elgato key light and the key light Airs make you, if you're using a webcam and not something more expensive, it might have trouble adjusting for the white balance since the background is so much darker than the lights that you're using, because they're giving you concentrated light and not really filling up your entire room. Whatever light that you had before to light your room, don't toss it. Use these in conjunction with it, because I'll show you when you fill up the rest of the room, you go from this to this. And these are just the dimmer lights that I had to light my room before. So yeah, whatever light you had before, keep that and just use it to fill up the rest of your room. All right, now let's get into some green screen or Chroma Key performance. All right, this is the Chroma Key performance on the Logitech Brio with just the Elgato key light. All right, it is pitch black outside and there's just one Elgato key light Air right in front of me. Yes. So yeah, even with just one Elgato key light Air, the green screen performance is quite good. This actually leads me into the main problem with both of these lights. Have you ever noticed how almost all the marketing material involving these lights has 2 lights. I'm talking about on the website, on the box, at tech shows. Even when advertising their green screen, Elgato always shows the key light and key light air with another one nearby. This is not a coincidence. This is because if you want even lighting, so you don't have super harsh shadows and look like you have one unnatural beam of light coming at you, if you want even lighting, you need multiple lights. The exception is if you're being lit by the sun, which has a size and brightness that disperses soft light evenly if you're next to a window. Otherwise, multiple angles are required to fill your shot. And this is why I got 2 key light airs. Next is convenience. Both lights are very easy to assemble. When it comes to setup, the key light uses a clamp at the bottom, which can attach to the side of your desk. The key light air has a weighted base at the bottom, so it's more like a lamp. They both have a swivel mount to point the light exactly where you want. If you're streaming from your home, I find the key light airs much more flexible and convenient overall. You can move them around easier and put them in more spots. The desk clamp on the key light means that if you don't have a multi-layer desk like this, then finding a good spot to put them can be pretty awkward. They both get quite tall, but since you can't put the original key light on the floor at all, and I wouldn't suggest trying the key light air on the floor, I didn't find much opportunity to utilize the full height. In addition, both lights' power cables aren't very long, but the plug itself is really bulky. Also, these don't seem exactly fun to travel with, but the metal is quite sturdy and it's pretty easy to take apart and put back together. Just don't lose anything. Now, continuing with convenience, there are no knobs to control the brightness or the color temperature. So you'll have to install an app called Elgato Control Center. Not gonna lie, it was pretty annoying to set up the first time. I had to make a Wi-Fi hotspot with my laptop to connect to my phone and my lights because my PC isn't connected to Wi-Fi. I use a wired connection, which I highly suggest. Elgato Control Center eventually detects any Elgato light that's in the area, and once you do finally get it working, the Elgato Control Center app is super convenient and easy to use. Now let's get into the features that this app does for the lights. This is actually my favorite part about these lights. The brightness can be increased or decreased, and the color temperature can be adjusted on both the key light and key light air from 2900 kelvins to 7000 kelvin. Now that's important for matching the current color temperature of the sunlight coming in, or if you have a ceiling light or lamp so that you can match the temperature of that as well. For example, if you just look at the daylight coming in right now, it doesn't contrast with the colors that I have coming from my key light airs because I've set the color temperature to match it, but I could make it a lot warmer if I wanted like a more homelier look. But the problem with this is now everything looks a lot more red than it should because it really clashes with the light that's coming in from the sun. Being able to change the color temperature also helps you offset the under or over saturation from your webcams. Like the Logitech Brio that I'm using right now looks super sharp for a webcam, but it tends to oversaturate the colors and make me look a bit red. So I can just turn the color temperature down a little bit to make sure that I'm not getting that extra red and orange look. And in the app, you can sync all your lights together to change the brightness and temperature of all of them at the same time, or even turn them all off or on at the same time without having to reach over and fish for the power switch on all of them whenever it's time to start to stream or record. You can also control the brightness with the Elgato Stream Deck, but I don't have one of those yet, but that is a good positive. Finally, my verdict. Both of these lights are super good. They're both very bright, convenient to use, and have excellent features which utilize the Elgato Control Center app. And they'll make your cheap or expensive webcam look so much better. Even if you're using like a DSLR, good lighting is required to get the full potential out of your camera. But really, the choice is simple. You need 2 lights so that you can be evenly lit. Even if you want one brighter than the other, one light source that's not the sun just won't fill your whole shot. And buying 2 key lights is $400. That's gonna be a yikes for me, dog. Alternatively, $260 gets you 2 key light airs, which give you a very bright and even shot. I do not suggest just buying 1 key light air though. Ultimately, I recommend getting 2 Elgato key light airs. I also have a review of the webcam that I'm streaming on, the Logitech Brio, that I've linked as well, and links to everything that I've talked about, the webcam, the lights, they're all in the description below. Thanks for watching, see you in the next review.